Hold up. We need to talk about what just surfaced from the Stranger Things documentary, because this changes absolutely everything. Fans have been tearing apart One Last Adventure, the making of Stranger Things 5, frame by frame, and somebody just found the smoking gun, a whiteboard, sitting in the background of one scene, covered in plot notes for the original finale. And when people zoomed in and transcribed what was written on that board, jaws hit the floor. The ending we got? That wasn't the plan. Not even close. What the Duffer Brothers originally wrote was completely different, and honestly, it makes way more sense than what we actually saw on screen. Eleven's fate, Hopper's strange behavior, Kali's rushed exit, all of it was supposed to play out in a totally different way. And now that we know what they changed and why they changed it, the finale we got feels even more frustrating. Let's break down exactly what was on that whiteboard and why the internet is losing its mind over the ending we almost had. Right at the top, Vecna haunts Hopper, Hopper smashes Tank. That scene exists in the final cut, but here's where it diverges. Hopper knows Kali, L plan, followed by to commit suicide in parentheses. In the version we got, Hopper seems blindsided by Eleven's sacrifice, devastated and helpless. But originally, he was in on it from the beginning. He knew what they were planning, which completely reframes his entire emotional arc in those final episodes. Further down the board, Hopper plus L emotional fight, Kali overhears. That fight happened, but Kali overhearing it was supposed to be significant, a setup for later. Then we get to the rooftop sequence. L is going to jump into Rift. See you later, no time to resolve. Military helicopters show up with sonic weapons. Massive firefight ensues, but instead of Murray's bomb taking out the threat, it's Hopper who shoots the sphere of exotic matter, causing it to go haywire and destroy the helicopters. 11 jumps into the storm clouds, into the abyss, while Hopper stays behind. Here's the kicker. Everyone dead, we're safe, but Kay plus Akers show up. And this is where it gets wild. Kay and Akers kill each other, not Kali using her dying breath to create an illusion. They literally take each other out in a firefight, both dropping dead on the spot. The whiteboard continues. Hopper tends to Kali, heart to heart, a new plan. This is massive. In the finale we got, Kali gets shot and barely has enough strength to project one last illusion before presumably dying off screen. Her death felt rushed, anticlimactic, like they needed her out of the way quickly. But in the original version, she doesn't die immediately. She survives long enough to have an actual conversation with Hopper, a genuine emotional moment where they discuss what comes next, a new plan written right there on the board. This is the moment where Hopper learns about the fake-out, where he realizes 11 isn't actually gone forever, that there's a way to make everyone believe she's dead while keeping her safe. Suddenly, his behavior in the final episode makes complete sense. Fans spent weeks questioning why Hopper seemed so calm at the end, why he wasn't completely shattered by losing the daughter he fought so hard to protect. People called it bad acting, poor direction, emotional inconsistency. But it wasn't any of those things. David Harbour was playing a man who knew the truth, a father who understood his daughter was alive somewhere, even if he couldn't be with her. The original script gave him that knowledge explicitly through Kali before she passed. The final version just stripped that conversation out entirely, leaving Hopper's demeanor feeling off without the context to support it. The whiteboard reveals something that fundamentally changes how we understand the entire plan. Originally, Kali wasn't just a convenient illusion maker who showed up to help fake Eleven's death. She was a co-architect of the entire strategy alongside L. Hopper knows Kali, L plan makes it crystal clear this was a joint operation from the start, not something improvised in the heat of battle. In the finale we watched, Kali appears, gets shot almost immediately, and with her dying moments somehow projects a powerful enough illusion to fool everyone into thinking 11 perished. It felt cheap, like the writers needed a quick solution, and remembered they had a character with illusion powers sitting on the bench. But the original version treated Kali with actual respect. She survives the Kay and Akers confrontation long enough to ensure Hopper understands the full scope of what they've orchestrated. The heart-to-heart mentioned on the whiteboard suggests genuine emotional closure between these two characters, who both love 11 and want to protect her. Kali gets to be more than just a plot device. She gets to be a person who makes a conscious choice to sacrifice herself so that Elle can live, and she gets to make sure someone she trusts knows the truth before she goes. That's character work. That's meaningful storytelling. Instead, we got a version where she's basically a human special effect who conveniently expires once her narrative function is complete. The whiteboard notes paint a scene that would have been absolutely devastating in the best possible way. L plus Hopper lost in translation moment, followed by @MacZ, Hopper gets out of Hummer alone. For anyone who's seen Lost in Translation, you know exactly what kind of emotional gut punch this is referencing. That movie's ending, where two people share a private goodbye that the audience can't hear, has lived rent-free in people's heads for decades because of how beautifully bittersweet it is. That's what Hopper and 11 were supposed to have. A final moment between father and daughter where they say things only they need to hear, where they make peace with what has to happen next. Then Hopper arrives at Max Z alone, and everyone loses it. Mike is freaking out, demanding to know where Elle is, and they can see her on the other side of the rift. She's not coming, written right there on the board. Not she's dead, not she's gone forever, but she's not coming back. Elle says goodbye to everyone through a happy memory, one last projection of herself smiling and at peace, giving her friends closure before she disappears into whatever existence awaits her on the other side. The Upside Down gets destroyed, the threat is eliminated, but Elle is gone from their world. Hopper knows she's alive somewhere, safe from the government, safe from being weaponized, living whatever life she can build beyond the rift. That's why he's not destroyed. That's why he can function. He made an impossible choice to let his daughter go so she could finally be free. Here's where things get frustrating. The documentary shows the Duffer brothers explicitly discussing their decision to make the ending more ambiguous, to leave Eleven's fate open to interpretation rather than confirming anything definitively. They wanted viewers to debate, to theorize, to come up with their own conclusions about what happened to her. In their minds, that ambiguity creates a more haunting, thought-provoking finale. Except the original version wasn't ambiguous at all. It confirmed Eleven survived, just in a different realm or dimension, unreachable but alive. Hopper knew it, Kali helped orchestrate it, and the audience would have known it too. The final version, we got stripped away all that certainty and replaced it with Mike's theory that maybe, possibly, Elle is alive somewhere based on nothing but hope and a hunch. No concrete evidence, no confirmation from anyone who would actually know, just a teenage boy refusing to accept that his girlfriend might be gone. Some fans have rushed to defend the Duffer's choice, arguing that ambiguity is more sophisticated storytelling, that not everything needs to be spelled out, that leaving room for interpretation respects the audience's intelligence. But the overwhelming majority of responses to this whiteboard leak have been brutal. "This is so much better than what we got," became an instant rallying cry. People aren't asking for ambiguity. They're asking for emotional payoff that makes sense within the story's established rules. The internet combusted the second that whiteboard transcription started circulating. "This is so much better" trended on Twitter for hours, with thousands of people quote tweeting the original post expressing rage, disappointment, and betrayal over what could have been. Fans immediately started demanding that Netflix release the original ending, some even suggesting they film the alternative version and release it as bonus content. Change.org petitions popped up within days, collecting tens of thousands of signatures from people who want to see the Duffer's first draft brought to life instead of the watered-down version that made it to screens. The conspiracy theories exploded overnight. Number conformity gate started trending, with fans theorizing that Netflix forced the ending change, that focus groups hated the definitive conclusion, that corporate meddling ruined what would have been a perfect finale. Some people are convinced there's a secret 9th episode that exists somewhere in Netflix's vault, a director's cut with the original ending intact that they're holding back for unknown reasons. Reddit threads with thousands of comments dissect every difference between the whiteboard notes and the final product, building elaborate theories about when the decision to change it happened and who was responsible. TikTok is flooded with side-by-side comparisons, creators acting out what the original ending would have looked like versus what we got, and the comments are unanimous. The original was superior in every conceivable way. Everything about the finale clicks into place when you apply the original ending's framework. Eleven didn't ambiguously, maybe possibly survive. She definitively made it out alive, just not in a way that allows her to come home. Hopper, Kali, and Elle orchestrated an elaborate fake-out together, a plan designed to make the government, the military, everyone believe that Eleven died destroying the Upside Down so they'd finally stop hunting her. This wasn't some last-second improvisation where Kali happened to be there with convenient powers. This was premeditated, carefully constructed, with all three of them understanding their roles. Hopper's acceptance of losing his daughter wasn't resignation or poor character writing. It was a father making the hardest choice imaginable, letting Elle go into exile so she could live free instead of spending the rest of her life as a weapon or a lab rat. His calm demeanor at Max Z wasn't emotional detachment. It was a man keeping a secret, protecting his daughter one final time by not revealing she'd survived. Mike's theory at the end wasn't just hopeful speculation from a kid in denial. He was absolutely right. Elle is alive, and Hopper knows it, but neither of them can ever say it out loud because the moment anyone confirms her survival, she becomes a target again. The ambiguity the Duffers added wasn't profound or sophisticated. It was confusion masquerading as depth, leaving audiences divided and frustrated instead of emotionally satisfied. We now have undeniable proof that the Stranger Things finale we spent months debating, analyzing, and arguing about wasn't the story the Duffers originally planned to tell. That whiteboard sitting innocently in the background of their own documentary exposed everything. The original ending gave Eleven a bittersweet but hopeful escape, a sacrifice that meant something because the people she loved knew she'd survived it. Hopper got to be a father making an impossible choice with full knowledge of what he was doing. Kali got actual character moments instead of being a disposable plot device. The emotional beats landed because they were earned, not because the audience had to fill in massive gaps with their own theories. But somewhere between that whiteboard and the final edit, the decision got made to strip away the certainty and replace it with ambiguity. Whether that was Netflix pushing back, focus groups expressing confusion, or the Duffers second-guessing themselves, we may never know for sure. What we do know is that fans are absolutely furious they didn't get the version that was originally written. Some people prefer not knowing. They'll argue that ambiguity is artistically superior until they're blue in the face. But the overwhelming response has been clear. We wanted the ending where Elle lives, where Hopper knows it, where the sacrifice means something concrete. Instead, we got question marks and divided opinions. And now we'll spend years wondering what could have been if they just stuck with their first instinct.